I've been in Norwich since 2001. I lived in Australia from 95 to 2001 doing Irish pubs over there, and I came back to open an Irish bar in Norwich, which I believe in 2001 called Delaney's, and I've been here ever since. I love it. Beautiful city, very Irish feel to it as well, by the way. But I've done 3 or 4 pubs over here now, and thank God they've all been very, very successcul. You know, so this is the latest one we've done, which opened 2021. So been here now for 4 or 5 years. The tail end of COVID, so restrictions were starting to lift. People were, I think, had enough been locked down. So we opened at the time with no masks or anything like that. You know, so we said to staff, look, we're just going to open as a pub. We opened as well. We put some barriers in place for stuff because of the location. We're actually a pub in the middle of Norwich, kind of nightclub land. A lot of people said it wouldn't work, but we also put a restriction on ourselves where we're over 25s on Friday and Saturday night after 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, which keeps all the young people out. I know people say it might be hard for an Irish pub to operate like that, but the intention was to go for that older demographic, you know, of customer. Because of the location, we knew that this street is full of 18 to 20-year-olds, 18, 19 to 20-year-olds, and we kind of didn't think that the clientele coming in here would appreciate it as much as an older demographic. So we've stuck to that gun since, and it's been a willing formula for us, thank God. It's very hard at the moment. I know I probably shouldn't say this, but Labour have done hospitality no favours whatsoever. 2 wage increases, national minimum wage increases in the last 2 or 3 years. Duty increases, you know, and coming out of COVID, I think over the 4-year, 5-year period, we had 5 beer increases as well, year on year, which was something that was very, very hard. But like that, you've got to have strings in your bow. We try to fulfill many, many different guises. We operate in a restaurant Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We've got a nightclub come cabaret club in the basement, which operates Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then we've got the main bar, which operates 7 days a week. You know, I'm very lucky in the shape of the building, in the sense that I can operate with minimal staff for 4 days a week, and then open it fully on the weekends, which keeps things under control somewhat, you know. Yeah, I think we've had to box clever in the current climate, you know, because it seems like you're running a very successful business and a very successful pub, massive turnover, but you're not making kind of any money, you know, which is a very hard thing to take and for people to understand. Everybody sees success with how busy you are. They don't realize that once you take into heating, electric, water, business rates, rent, wages, there's very little left. Stock, you know, there's very, very little left at the end of the day. You know, so we have a tendency to buy the buildings, and that's where we're in for the long game, increase the value of the building with the business, increasing the value of turnover in the business. You know, and that's been the model we've worked at for the last 20 years, and it works, thank God. I've probably dealt with Greene King for probably 20, 25 years, you know, in one guise or another, in nearly every venue I've had. And one of the reasons I use Greene King all the time is that fact, the flexibility and the fact that they're willing to help, especially independent pubs. A lot of people don't realize that we're an independent pub, but we deal directly with Greene King, because Greene King have a lot of their own premises, you know. But yeah, it's crucial. Personable, very, very much one-on-one. Like, as I said, from the Dre guy, Kyle, he'll call me personally at 7 o'clock in the morning, say, look, I'm going to be with you in 15, 20 minutes, which again, for me, I can make sure my staff are here. It's these small little nuances that people do for you that make your life easier. From Adam, the rep, who's on the phone, I'm on the phone to probably 2 or 3 times a week, always answers the phone, great feedback, always helping, always productive in driving the business forward. From small things like glassware to posters to future products, to the accounts team, the finance team. Nicola, I deal with Nicola quite a bit you know. And if I'm a little bit behind, sometimes I can call her up personally again, and she'll say, look, oh, no worries, as long as you get that paid by then. And that means so much to have that flexibility and diversity, especially when you're running an independent business, you know. Because an independent business, I always look at pubs, this is a living organism. It's not just a building, you know what I mean? Things happen constantly in pubs that catch you off guard, you know. You might have staff leave, you might have toilets break, you might have a flood in the cellar, you know, so you're constantly battling, you know what I mean? So when you know you've got people that you can trust and that are reliable on the other end of the phone, and I'm talking about Adam, who'll help, and I'm talking about Nicola, who'll give you that flexibility of a couple of days, you know what I mean? It means so much, so much. And that's why I like Greene King. Like I can name all my reps from 2001. Do you know what I mean? Because we built up that kind of relationship. Very much a numbers man when it comes to products and stuff, and my GP. And I think that's where Greene King are fantastic when it comes to other companies, because I can say I want to put a cheap lager in, or I can put a really premier product in. And Greene King have such a catalogue of products that really makes that easy for me, because I've got to look at pricing structure as well. I've got to be able to sell a beer for £4 or £5 for the guy who comes in on a Monday or Tuesday afternoon. And I've also got to be able to sell a premium product for those people who are out on a Friday and Saturday night and who just want to get the best out of the venue. So they want the entertainment, but they also want to know the products they're getting are premier. You know, and that's where I've been very lucky with the vast range of products that Greene King supply. Reliability, 100%. I think that, as I said, the staff in Greene King, like they make it very personal to me, and trust and reliability and trust are a shadow of a doubt. You know? Yeah, I love it. I love bringing these old buildings alive, you know, and I love people telling me that's never going to work. That was the one thing they told us about this pub. I remember sitting with the police trying to get the license, because it was an old building, and I remember sitting with the chief of police, who I know quite well, because you have to go through the process of meeting them, tell them what you're going to do, and I was telling them I'm going to open an Irish pub at Prince Wells Road, which is a hub and a nightclub scene in Norwich, and I'm going to be over 25s on Friday and Saturday night, and they laughed at me. They said, this is never going to work. And the same chief of police had his retirement party here last year, and the first thing he said to me, he said, God, you proved me wrong. Of how fantastically well established we've become in such a short period of time, and how we're one of the top rated pubs in Norwich. You know, if you put in Google best pubs, we're one of the top rated pubs. We were recognised by Guinness as well this year with that Golden Harp Award. You know, so to have such an established pub that feels like a pub that's been here for 100 years in such a short period of time. Like what a lot of people don't comprehend is with the pub is that we try and evolve it all the time. So when we opened with the main bar and the restaurant, and then we had a basement floor, which, because as you can imagine during COVID, costs went up exponentially. So our initial cost to do the pub increased by £150,000 by the time the pub actually opened. So we had to reach out to Greene King and say, look, we want to finish the basement bar. Can we get some help? You know, and in a heartbeat, they were there. They didn't even bat an eyelid. You know what I mean? Which was fantastic, and that's reassuring for me as well to know that I've got a company like that who, even though we're partners in crime, you could say, that they're willing to support us through every facet, every avenue, to help us expand our business. You know, which is a really positive, and I mean that sincerely. That without their help, it would have been a struggle. You know.